What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about how you can make money trading without risking your own capital by using a prop firm, specifically the firm Apex Trader Funding, which just announced major positive changes like this last week. After a bit of controversy earlier in the year, they listened and have made some really nice updates that make getting payouts easier and faster. Apex has captured the attention of the industry with their cheapest prices, revolving sales, and the ability to trade up to 20 accounts simultaneously. Now, over a year ago, I made a video talking about Apex, and I went over the unrealized trailing drawdown, which is kind of like the catch to their cheaper prices. I want to use this video to highlight those changes that they just made, and then moving forward, I want you all to be prepared and not caught off guard with their rule set. So let's take a deeper look into Apex, what are the pros and cons, and uncover how to go about passing these evaluations. Especially if you want to trade multiple accounts, you're going to want to watch this whole video. The link to sign up for Apex will be in the description below, as well as my trading software MotiveWave, my broker, which is EdgeClear, and our coaching program Full-Time Trader. And if you want to know what's going on with my desk back here, I made a video on that. I'll put a card right now. I go over all the softwares that I'm using, what's on each screen. So if you're interested, you can check that out. But now let's get into it. All right, guys, so this is Apex. The first thing I want to bring your attention to is that they do revolving sales right now at 8% off. When this expires, it just kind of goes back. They do a new sale, sometimes 70%, sometimes 90%. 90% is around like major kind of holidays, Black Friday. So if you're going to get multiple accounts, it's best to hop on the 90% off one. They'll do $35 resets. Sometimes this is on or off. And then sometimes they'll have like 1 day to pass. So you can pass the accounts in 1 day and get into your funded. That kind of promotes YOLO mentality, but you know, you do you, don't be stupid. So you get 100% of the first 25,000, 90% beyond that. Don't focus on this too much. Just focus on passing your eval. Don't worry about the money and how much you can get, because it's gonna cloud your judgment. Just focus on passing. 2 payouts per month every 10 days. I will say a change that they made very recently is that they are doing faster payouts. And I can confirm this, you're getting it within a few days or less of requesting it. And they got a lot of heat under the summer for like denying payouts, and they've made a ton of changes very recently, and they're focusing on, their goal is to not have any denied payouts, to make everything transparent for you, and just kind of go after like the bad actors. Some people or groups come in to these funding firms and they try and game the system. Like they'll buy accounts and then they'll go long and they'll go short, and then they'll just take the winner. And so obviously like these funding firms have to protect themselves from people who are just trying to like game them, which makes sense. But people that aren't trying to game them are kind of getting hit with denials and stuff. So they're focusing on going after the bad actors and letting people that are trying to do trading well, they're giving them the reins and trying to not deny their payouts. So that's a positive. That was one of the negatives for Apex this summer. They've changed that. They've done a lot of hiring. So positive changes from Apex with the firm, which I think are good. You can trade on holidays. There's no daily drawdown. They have the unrealized trailing drawdown. And I'll put a link to the video I made originally if you want to. I go over the sort of like math behind the unrealized trailing drawdown, how it works against you. But you got to keep that in mind. It's cheap. You're paying $30 right now with the 80% off for the 50K account, as opposed to some other firms. So that's kind of like, that's the trade-off. Yeah, one-step eval, real-time data included. This is true. I could use all my order flow tools with the account. So simple risk management rules, somewhat, you can't dollar cost average, which I talk about later in this video. 7 trading days, like I said, sometimes they'll do 1 day to pass. You have to look out for those like sales. I would recommend, so these are the accounts, I would recommend going for the 50K. It's the best bang for your buck in terms of profit goal and trailing threshold. It says 167, but with the 80% off sale, it's like $33 and some change. So I'd recommend the 50K account. You can look at all these and decide what you want to do. I would just recommend the 50K account. Once you activate it, it's $85 per account per month to activate. I think they have I think you can pay like one something for like a lifetime fee. But I think it's good to do the $85 per month once you activate, because if you get funded and then you blow your PA account, or maybe you get a payout and then you blow it, you'd have to do a new account and you have to pay the 167 again and then pay the 85 again. So and doing the lifetime once activated, just depending on your situation, it might cost you more money in the long run, because I feel like a lot of people blow accounts. I've done that. I've funded accounts and eventually you blow them because of what a funding firm is. You don't treat it like your real money. Like, I haven't blown my real futures account because I'm very strict with it, but when I'm on funding accounts, I'm a lot more kind of loose, and you just tend to YOLO more. So all things to consider, like I talk about, know the rules, look at the FAQ, and just kind of like look at everything and be honest with yourself and decide what's going to be the best thing for you to do that's going to cost you the least amount of money. And again, your focus is to obviously you want to get money. Your focus is to get better at trading, right? If you're in a funding firm, likely because you either A, don't have enough money to trade your own capital with, B, you haven't had a true system, or maybe you've lost money and you're just trying to hone your skills, hone your setups so that you can take money out, put it into a real account and trade your own money, and have the skill set and the knowledge of trading experience and screen time to now trade your own money. That's the benefit I see with funding firms, is that you can trade their capital and you can put a little bit of money in and you can still learn and lose, and that sets you up for success when ultimately you go to a live account. If you're in here to just make a ton of money in YOLO, that's on you, but I'm going to bring you to the very bottom of the screen. Just so you know, this is the evaluation disclaimer. They had a 43% pass rate between January to September of last year. The evaluation and PA are meant to be as close to realistic simulation of trading under actual market conditions, but the evaluation is difficult to pass even for experienced traders. The event is not meant to train the customer to be better. All right, it's not meant to make you a better trader. It's meant to be a challenge to pass. So their eval is not meant to train you to be better. It's meant to be a challenge to pass. It is harder to trade than a live account, because it's not suggested for no trading experience, because you have the unrealized trailing drawdown. You have that added feature where if you're in profit and you don't close a trade, it works against you. That does not happen in live trading. If I'm up $500 and it comes down to break even, nothing happens. I have a break-even trade on the day. I haven't lost or made money. And in Apex, if you have the unrealized trailing drawdown, if you make 500 and it comes down to break-even and it stops you out, that 500 is now taken away from your drawdown. So you come up here to this 2,500. Instead of having 2,500, now you have 2,000. Right? That's harder than trading. You have to take profit. So you want to keep that in mind. And it's not saying it can't be done. I'm telling you, it's hard to do. 43% pass rate. It's difficult to do. Your focus is not on getting 100% of 25K and chasing the rabbit. Your focus is on developing a system, becoming a good trader, and getting payouts, learning in that process, and then ultimately funding your own account. You can click the FAQ, and it's going to bring you to their help center, master training course. I would suggest, if you haven't gone through the accounts yet, or you just passed your eval, read through these. It's too much information to go over in this video. Take the time to go through it, each area, performance account. If you have questions about connecting to Rhythmic, Tradeovate, platform connections, everything's on here. They have a pretty extensive FAQ. They're giving you the information to be successful with Apex. If you read it or don't read it is up to you. But if you have any questions too, you can always hit their help desk and they reply fairly quick. That's sort of my 2 cents on Apex. If you're going to do it, I'm going to go in now back to my talking head, and we're going to go over some tips and tricks to sort of keep your head above water and pass these firms. All right, now let's talk about the 3 most important steps that you need to do to pass a prop firm like Apex. The most important step is navigating this unrealized trailing drawdown. You have to be okay with leaving profit on the table. Apex lists on their site that the evaluation is intended to be harder than real live trading. It means you have to be taking profit, and averaging up is going to be harder. You can't let trades breathe for as much as you might like. For example, if you're up $500 and then you get stopped out down $500, you've lost $1,000 off your trailing drawdown, because you're up $500 and then you didn't take that profit and it comes back down. And that only increases your probability of failing. So they know this, and now you know this too. The best bet is to keep a trailing profit and move that stop to break even as much as possible. You also want to take profit so your position can come into your profit target at its highest value. So let's say you're going for like a 20-point trade, maybe put your take profit at like 15 or 16. That way, like if it misses that 20 and it comes back down, it's going to work against you. But if it goes 15, 16, 17 and it stops you out at your highest point, you're going to have nothing will be taken off that unrealized trailing drawdown. So you have to kind of like tweak your trading a little bit to keep your drawdown at its most full, and not let profit. You basically can't leave profit on the table as much as possible. That's how you have to like trade the unrealized. Now, step 2 is to mitigate losses as much as possible and resist taking what I call like cowboy setups. Make sure your trades have a positive risk reward, meaning if you have a stop loss of 5 points, you can at least make 5 to 10 points at minimum on the trade. You shouldn't be having a 5-point stop loss and then take 2 points, right? You should be having a 2-point stop loss and getting 5 points. That's like the secret sauce to trading. You have to win more than you lose. It sounds obvious, but it's harder when you're in the live market, right? Ideally, you want setups where you can risk 3 points and make 9, like a 3-to-1. That'd be the most ideal, because you can lose 2 trades and make 1 trade a winner, and you'll be up 3 points. And that's kind of like how you want to be thinking when you're going for these trades, is that your winners are always going to make up for your losers, and you can lose more than you win, but still be profitable. That's your goal. But if you can focus on making sure your wins are greater than your losses, that is the secret sauce to being successful. And finally, step number 3 is to know your rules. Apex has a lot of pages on their FAQ, on their eval, and their funded rules, and it's too much to cover in one video. So depending on the account size you pick, you need to go review what your parameters are so you have no surprises. You need to know how much you can lose, how much you need to make. You need to know about all the little intricacies like dollar cost averaging, for example. What this is once you're in the performance account, if you're in a losing trade and you average in more than once, if you do it twice, then that'll be enough reason for them to deny your payout. So if you get in and you're negative and you add in and you average in to get a better cost so that it has to go a shorter distance for you to go into profit, you can do that one time. If you average in more than once, they will deny your payout. So you just have to know that and not do it anyway. And ideally, as we're talking about in step number 2, you should not be averaging into losers because you want to mitigate your losses. And if you average into a loser, you're in a losing trade already, you're putting more risk out there, and it's going to skew that risk to reward, that ratio, right, of where you want to make 9 points for every 3 points that you risk. If you're down 3 points and then you average in, now it's going to be, I mean, you would need to make now 18 points because maybe you're risking 6 points or 9 points. So you need to make at least 9 to 18 on the trade. So averaging in makes it tougher for you to maintain that consistency. You should be averaging into winners, which you can do too. You can control your risk better with that, and that's something that most traders don't do. We all know 90% of traders lose. 10% win. You don't need to do what the 10% do. You need to not do what the 90% of traders do. And 90% of traders average into losers. They don't average into winners. They hold losers longer than they hold their winners. If you can do better at holding your winners longer than you hold your losers, you'll be on your way. But again, with the Apex, the unrealized, it's very hard to average into a winner because if you average in and you're in profit and it comes back down, then it messes up your drawdown. So something to keep in mind, you should just not average in at all on the Apex account. If you're trading with one lot, you should enter and exit every trade with one lot. And that's just going to help you pass that eval a lot more cleanly. So go review all those rules once you pass your eval and you're in the performance account so you can follow those guidelines and you can get your hard-earned money without any issues. So that's Apex Trader Funding. Let me know what you guys think. They made a lot of good changes. They're doing faster payouts now. Like the payouts are approved and sent within a day or two, and they're going to quit punishing everybody. They make a lot of these rules because people come in and try and game the system, and they're going to focus more on targeting the people that are gaming the system and letting people that are trying to do it right. They're not going to deny their payouts. So their goal is, what they've said moving forward, is to have little to no denied payouts, and that's a good thing. And I want to remind you guys, I get a lot of requests to review prop firms. Like, I'm not a huge channel, but I literally get like emails or Instagram DMs like weekly from these random and obscure prop firms, and most of them are like random, or they're not US based. So I try and only focus on the ones that are the most stable and likely to pay out. I don't want to recommend firms to you guys that are sketchy. So I try and stick with like the reputable ones that I kind of know pay out. I've gotten money from them, etc. And again, I'm not a huge channel, but if you want to subscribe and like this video, we really appreciate it. It helps out. But I still think Apex is a leading firm, and I do my best to make you aware of what to expect if you choose them. They're very cheap. You can do multiple accounts, but you have the unrealized trailing drawdown. If you can navigate that, it can be very lucrative for you. So click the link below to sign up for Apex, and you can check out our free 1-hour webinar on what's inside our full-time trader coaching program. Trade smart, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.